Okay, here we go. I tried to think of a video to do for today, and I couldn't think anything else. My mind is literally completely shot of like I can't take myself seriously and do another video on a day like this without it being about Burnley. So I thought one video would be good, and it'd be a different idea, and it'd be completely different to what I've done before, which is basically like a podcast essentially with me and a fellow Leeds fan by the name of Connor, who runs the One Leeds fan channel. His link is down below, check him out. He's a sound lad, he's a good lad as well. So I thought that it'd be a good laugh to get him on and talk about just how absolutely god-awful both our football clubs are. So tell me your thoughts down below in the comments. This will be in the morning of the Sunday, so this will be probably like a couple of hours before kick-off for Spurs v Burnley and Leeds v Brentford, so keep that in mind, of course, if you're watching this like a week later. This is the situation, and this is two fans of two clubs who are in absolute disarray, just trying our best here to cheer each other up. If you guys do want more videos like this, then tell me down below, and of course tell me your thoughts down below in the comments. Let's try and hit 1,000 likes, and stay safe, boys, and best of luck, hopefully, to Burnley. Yo, do you play FIFA 22? Yeah. Is your team bang average? You absolute pathetic piece of... You're saying that to the viewers? No, obviously. Ah, okay. I mean you. Do you face teams like this? You can't keep getting away with it! Do you know there's a way to get coins? Why are you shouting at me? Then go to userbuy.com for the cheapest and most reliable place to buy your coins on FIFA 22. Link is down below in the description. And also use code Vizeh at checkout to get a discount. Okay, so we got on for the video a lad called Connor. Now, if you're a Leeds fan, you may know him from the One Leeds fan channel. Now, of course, I need to keep up to date in terms of how they are, because we're and I didn't think it was possible to even worse. Somehow, it actually is possible. So I got Connor here, who, out of all the Leeds fans that I know, bar maybe Ellis Platten away days, you're one of the more bearable ones that I've found online. So take that as you will, pal. So honestly, I like your stuff. I find that you have a realistic mindset. I think that's the way to really say it compared to most Leeds fans. So I got you on to make me feel better about myself, really. So just tell me, mate, just start off, simply put, let's just have a laugh at how absolute shit both of us are, essentially, honestly.
Oh, God, there's a lot to unpack there, but yeah, you're spot on. It's just, isn't it? I mean, I think we just sat down and watched the Liverpool-Chelsea game. We're thinking to ourselves, we'd love to be one of those clubs. Happiness, sunshine, nice football, and celebrations. But no, not with Burnley and Leeds, because apparently we really are dog. But yeah, mate, it has been a horrendous season. I'm thoroughly depressed, and I really can't wait for it to end.
Yeah, I think the thing is that there's a large difference between Leeds and Burnley, I think, with expectations. That with Burnley, it's always felt like it's bound to happen one day. It's, one season, it's probably going to be the year. So for us, it feels like it is like an expectation. I don't know for you guys with Leeds, like, because of your history and so on and so forth, or your fan base, like, was it almost like an impossibility, for the large majority of the Leeds fan base that, like, it would never happen with Leeds? Like, what's your kind of perspective on it?
Yeah, you're right, mate. I think that was the big thing, but I don't know. I watch a lot of Premier League football, and I understand sort of the quality and the caliber of every single team. And we're not just talking about like top 4, top 6, which everyone seems to like focus on. It's everything else that the bottom 10. They're good teams. They're good teams. They're stacked teams. They've got depth, and we didn't address that in the summer. We didn't address that in the winter window. It was naivety, really. But in the summer, it was just a joke. It was an abomination of a window. We needed a central midfielder. We needed another striker. We needed a backup goalkeeper, and we didn't do any of it. They were resting on Bielsa doing miracles again. So yeah, mate, I mean, you guys must get sick of it, but the historical context is one thing, but you don't just get to stay in the Premier League of historical context. And I think loads of Leeds fans, because we finished 9th, they thought we were going to build on it, which I think is a respectable expectation, because you should be building on that position, in terms of attracting good players, in terms of building on a style that you've already honed and stuff like this. But we didn't do that, and we rested on our laurels, and we tried to naively get through the season with Marcelo Bielsa working magic again. It didn't happen, and the Premier League's got better, as we've seen this year, with like teams like Crystal Palace and Wolves in that bottom sort of 12, and Leeds have progressed. And you'll know, Liam, if you stand still in the Premier League, you're fucked.
Absolutely. I think there's some similarities in terms of Leeds and Burnley, in terms of it is very much an over-reliance on the manager and just
Yeah.
hoping that they pull off miracles. And Sean Dyche has, as we all know, in terms of how much we spend, it's like peanuts compared to the rest of the league. I mean, for example, last year we spent £900,000 in both windows combined. That's how much we spent, and we still stayed up. So that alone should be an achievement that should be worthy of a statue in itself in the Premier League.
Yeah.
How aging our team is and how poor they actually are technically, that's incredible. But it is similar in terms of with you guys. I put Leeds, I think, in my prediction, like back in August, about, I want to say like 9th again or like 10th. I thought that with Bielsa, I thought that, no, but it's like, you kind of felt like there was going to be something building because there was a,
Yeah.
As a football fan, as all of us are, you like to have that kind of romanticism to it. Do you want to imagine that there's a storyline, there's some poetry that it's all meant to be, and there's gonna be some beautiful story of like, one club rising from the ashes from League One, Championship, Bielsa joins, and you think that it's all meant to be because that's what we think football is. And sadly, what we've both learned this year with Dyche leaving, getting sacked, and Bielsa getting sacked, that football is just really fucking shit, isn't it? It is so sad. Like, I never thought that Dyche would get sacked, and we've sacked him and somehow got like 10 times better. And for me, that almost kind of taints in a way the 9 years that we've had with Dyche, because it almost ends in a way that makes me feel like he wasn't doing a good job. But with you guys and what Jesse Marsch has done, I mean, since Dyche has left and Jackson came in, it has been tweaks. But with you guys, when Marsch, I think, said that it's just going to be tweaks, it can't be any more far apart from the truth, can it?
No, mate. He's. I mean, it's. Don't get me wrong. It's a good sort of motivational thing because when there's 12 games to go, you have to bring in someone who's going to pick up the characters. And the Leeds team, when Bielsa left, were battered, physically and I think mentally as well. The team needed regeneration. I always go on about it, rejuvenation in the summer and the winter. And as I say, they were arrogant. The board were arrogant. This is pretty much all of their fault. And that was the big problem really. And I think the Marsch one is interesting because he came in and he spoke about needing to improve the mentality. He spoke about needing to improve little aspects and improve, on certain things that the team weren't doing. And like you just said, like Mike Jackson has done, tweak certain things. And he's not done that. It seems to be the best Leeds played was the first game that he was in charge, when it looked like we're still playing expansively. We're still sort of making, you're playing to Rafinha's game and Jack Harrison's game. But since then, it's got worse. And you've got to say, he's been trying to impose his tactical style for longer, obviously, because he's had sort of 11 games now. So the longer he's been with the side, he's been trying to put his tactical format on them. And it's just not worked. It's got worse. We don't play with the ball anymore. We're horrific in possession. I don't know if you catch the Chelsea game, mate, or the Arsenal game.
I caught the Palace game as well. That was god awful as well. Palace.
Mate, we're just shite to watch. We're awful, and if anything, so we can't keep hold of the ball. We're now playing Rafinha at right wing back, which is a sackable offence in itself. And it's. Yeah, mate, we're not playing to our strengths like we did under Bielsa, but I do firmly believe Bielsa, probably like you guys with Dyche, maybe, would have taken us down. That change needed to be made, but I think we've mid-season or 2/3 through the season, we've gone too far away from Bielsa. Like, you can't do that in the Premier League. You've got to just, as Mike Jackson has done, just tweak certain things, and we've gone to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and the players just don't know what they're doing.
With Leeds, of course, and it could be a factor of the injuries and a factor of the suspensions as well, especially in the last 2 games. But I swear in the last 5 games, you guys have changed your formation like every single game. And I think the worst case scenarios against Chelsea, I didn't actually know what formation it was. I swear every 15 minutes I saw different players in different roles almost. And like, when you got a manager which feels like he doesn't even know his best 11, never mind his best formation, never mind his best tactic, then I don't really, like, it just feels like he is just throwing so much shit against a wall and just hoping to God that something will stick.
We've used that analogy on my channel, mate, so many times. It's like, I don't know if you've seen this before, and people in the comments might have seen this before, but when a manager gets to this stage where he's panicking, and that's how it feels at the minute. It feels like with personnel, there's he's been trying to play like Dan James in the number 10. And don't get me wrong, like, injuries have played a huge part, especially with Bamford, because he's our focal point and he's the press from the front, and he's been a massive miss. Like, he started 6 games this season. We've not had a striker for the entire. We're not the bottom already, really. But yeah, he's essentially come in, changed a lot of things around, and there's big problems there. The players don't seem to be understanding it, and now the confidence has gone as well. It's awful, Liam, and I know this will be making you and other Burnley fans feel absolutely exceptional at the minute. But we are. Well, I'm convinced, and this might be something for a later stage in the video, but I'm convinced we're in big trouble this season. And yeah, I think the swing away from Jesse Marsch and his sort of tactics, if you will, which we've not seen yet. We've not seen a style. We've not seen anything. Is a big problem. And I think you would be able to turn around to me and say, Connor, this is what we do. This is what Burnley are doing. This is how we approach games now. I can't tell you what Jesse Marsch does. I can't tell you what Leeds do from game to game anymore.
And that's the main concern, isn't it? Because if it feels like if the manager doesn't even know what he's going to do, then how can the players even know? And that sort of, I've seen so many Leeds fans say like, "Oh, just the players just ignore what he's saying and just play how they did it under Bielsa." And I mean, it just sounds baffling to me, really. Of course, it's mainly Leeds v Burnley now. It feels like. Just quickly, to kind of add to it. Would you even consider Everton part of it whatsoever?
No, mate, I don't. I never have done, to be honest with you. And I've seen your video as well when you've been sort of saying it'd be great to see them go down, and I'd agree with you. It'd be great, and obviously we can't stand Frank Lampard as well, so it'd make it even sweeter. But yeah, I just don't see it, mate. They've got too much quality, Liam, and I know we always turn around and say you're never too big to go down, and I get that. I do get that, but I just think they've just got that little bit, and quite annoyingly. He sort of galvanised Anthony Gordon, and that's been one of Frank's big things. And I think Anthony Gordon's a top player. So I think, the Everton crowd, a lot of home games, and they've still got, Brentford and Palace to play at home. They've got to be targeting at least 3 points. They've got to be getting there, surely.
I mean, they got 2 home games to get 1 win. 1 win and they're safe in reality, because I cannot see you and I cannot see us getting 4 points, which I think that would be. The thing is, like, at this stage, I would not be surprised if you lose all your games and we lose all our games, and then like that's just how it is. Like see,
Liam, that would be crippling, because then do you know what you have to do as well? Because we conceded 20 goals in a month, which is a Premier League record. You do have to turn around and sort of blame Bielsa, because we just had no plan B, and it was just man marking. It was gung ho. And we just conceded. I mean, we've conceded 70. I think it's 76 goals. So it's just absolutely incredible. So that if we went down on goal difference, you're not really going to get, in my opinion, many Leeds fans turning around and saying, "Well, Bielsa wasn't at fault," because he's obviously had a massive hand in it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely awful when if that is the case and it is down to goal difference on final day. Are you going to the game on Sunday or tomorrow?
I'm not, mate. No, I'm not, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I was going to say, let's say the worst case happens tomorrow, right? It's full time, and that it doesn't matter if we win or lose or not, but like, it's full time, Brighton gets a 1-0 against you guys. What will happen at full time at Ellen Road if you lose?
I think, being a football fan like you are, and I think you've sort of taken a keen eye in Leeds before as well. You've been part of that championship structure before where you've played us, and you've seen what it's like. You'll know, Liam, that Ellen Road can be, God, it can be the best place in the world, but it can also be the worst place in the world. And if we lose tomorrow, and let's say it's heavy again, I mean, the fans have been incredible. We've been getting shipped 6, 7, 4s, 5s, and the crowd have been there till the end, clapping the players on. But they're just pissed off now, Liam. They're getting to a pissed off point where it's like, you need to show us more on the pitch, because we're doing everything we can. And I think if we get beaten, and we get beaten well, which I can see happening on Sunday, the Leeds fans, I think, are going to turn. And that is not a good recipe for the Brentford game at the last game of the season, because the mentality is so fragile in this group anyway. They've got no egos, Liam, which is a good thing, but it's a bad thing in a way as well, because it means that they can't really deal with pressure.
I feel like maybe the only egos that I can see potentially is just the obvious ones, like Rafinha, because he knows that knows he's good, and I guess Phillips, but even so, like I mean, this is just from what I saw as I watched the game against Chelsea. And that second goal for me is absolutely shambolic. Everyone look at the third one because of the defending that was, they get the ball away so poorly. But the second one, I saw Rafinha and mainly Phillips that was within range of Pulisic, and it wasn't even like a jog. It was a stroll. It was strolling to him. Phillips, who's supposed to be Mr. Leeds, from around here, is a Leeds boy, and he's strolling when it's only 1-0. And I saw that thinking that there is no fight there. I don't care if it's 10 men. That is pathetic. And if I see Burnley do that, then that'd be.
I'm guessing, mate, even though you got beaten by Villa like pretty well, I'm guessing Burnley aren't showing those characteristics.
The second half against Villa were quite poor. The first half, I thought we were quite unfortunate to be 2-0 down. Villa showed some quality, and we had a bit of a lapse in concentration for the first goal. So I felt like we were quite unfortunate to be 2-0 down. Second half was quite poor, I'll be honest. But even still, in the last 15, we gave ourselves, a few pot shots, and I think Villa kind of just gave up in the end. So we just got an easy through ball to corner, and he rounded the goalkeeper. So, 3-1's probably fair in terms of the game itself, but that's the thing with Burnley that, as you probably know, that you're not going to get people just not arse, because in reality, and I think the same for you guys is the same, that most players, if they do go down, most players that plays for the team probably will not be playing Premier League football next season. That's what I thought with Everton, because most of those players, they knew that they'll get probably a transfer next year. Their heart may not be in it. But for Burnley, if we go down, 5 players probably may go, 5, 4, depends, because some players I don't even think has even earned a right to be playing Premier League football next year. The last 5 games, they've probably may have put themselves in a shop window, like the likes of Brownhill, like the likes of Dwight McNeil. But before that, probably would have given you 4 players, and that's it, that I thought would actually be playing in the Premier League next year if we do go down.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Liam, we obviously there's been quite a few transfers that have gone between us in the past couple of years, mainly in your favour when it comes to Chris Wood and Charlie Taylor. But I mean, Charlie is he. Not many people talk about him. Liam, I actually went to school with him. He was in my year, and Charlie is an exceptional player. I really rate him. I think he's a top player. I actually think he could play higher. What he's able to do in terms of consistency, week in, week out. Never gets tackled, always wins free kicks, puts in absolutely everything. I know he can get rinsed sometimes when it comes to pace, but I mean, he would slot in at left back with us immediately. And I think you've just got a couple of players in there that I would definitely look at right now, especially right now. I mean, the good thing is you've got different players scoring from different positions. So like Jack Cork getting one, Brownhill getting one, Cornet getting one, Veghorst, these players, Roberts, people getting on the score sheet who you wouldn't expect to normally. Leeds don't have that. There's so much reliance on Rafinha that is terrifying, and I think that's why it really is advantage Burnley.
Yeah, that is a big concern for you guys. That it is essentially, if Rafinha's having an off day, then you pretty much are just lost. It feels like
when he's playing at right wing back, I mean, he don't get the best chance in the world, but
yeah, I mean that I still can't fathom that. Honestly, I really can't. I can't fathom that. It's honestly ridiculous. I mean, the thing is, the one thing I can say for you and for any Leeds fan listening in is that with Burnley, we're also not exactly in a great place either. Injury-wise, Tarkowski is likely going to be gone for this weekend. Also like to Jack Cork, also like to Joe Rodriguez. Vizeh is now out for the season, and also quite a few that probably is also out for the year. So we're playing like Dale Stevens, Kevin Long, players that should not be playing Premier League at Spurs away, and potentially also at Villa away as well. There's hope that Tarkowski, Jack Cork could be back from Newcastle home, and maybe if you want to push it, Villa away. But for the Spurs game, I think you guys got nothing to really worry about. I think we'll put in a fight, maybe 0-0, maybe a half time at the absolute best case scenario, but I think quality will show in the end for this weekend. So, I mean, for all we know, a 0-0 draw could happen, and I guess that'd be the most typical Burnley results of all time, but I highly doubt it with the players that we're missing. So that's my one benefit I give to you guys for tomorrow. Of course, by the time you say it, to be in the morning or Sunday. So I don't think, that's the thing, both sides have been absolutely just destroyed in terms of injuries. You guys a lot more than us, I'll say. But it hurts, I think, if you're a Leeds fan, because it almost feels like self-sabotage of the manner of the suspensions. It feels like, and there's also question marks on likes of Bamford. Like, is he actually like fully injured, or like it's always feel like it's like 50-50 all the time? Like, what's the mindset in terms of, I mean, the suspensions and also likes of Bamford?
Yeah, I think with regards to the suspensions, I mean, this is what I was coming back to Liam when I was talking about fragile mentalities. You're not seeing that with Burnley. And that's what I will say. You're not seeing them lose their heads and going for stupid fucking tackles and all this sort of stuff where Leeds players are. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's ill discipline. I don't know if it's just a rush of blood to the head. I don't know if that's because Jesse Marsh is saying in the changing room, we need to be tough tackling and all this sort of stuff, because there was an incident with Stuart Dallas against Manchester City where he's actually fractured his femur, and that's not the point really. The point is he was consistently trying to hammer Jack Grealish, and that's not Stuart Dallas's game. So it's very interesting now that Leeds' fouls per game has gone up. And there's clearly a message from the changing room that you need to get stuck in, but it's not working. The Leeds players are doing it in the complete wrong way. So I think at the minute, Liam, when it comes to injuries, this has always been a thing for the past 4 years, and this is why we've always craved a bigger squad. But Bielsa never wanted a bigger squad, which was fine. The guy, in all our opinion, was a genius with what he did. But I think it's got to a point in this season now where people can't carry the injuries anymore. That cycle of Bielsa ball came to a very abrupt end because more and more and more players were breaking down, and more and more of the 23s were having to come in. Liam, our 23s have been relegated, and they're a good team. They're a really, really good team. But because we're nicking all of their players because we can't fill a bench, that's hurting them as well. So the whole structure is an absolute sham at the minute. But yeah, I think there's a collective groan just when it comes to the summer and the winter. And trust me, Liam, there is going to be, I mean, if we go down, I think the current board, the structure, Andrea Radrizzani, I think he's going to have to leave, because it's just going to get, I mean, you know what the Leeds fan base are like, but quite rightly, they're pissed off with this season. We've been in the abyss, Liam, as you'll know, for 16 years, and we've got back and we finished in a promising position. And then in the second season, they've just pissed it up the wall because they've been arrogant. So yeah, I think the fans, in answer to your first question, are annoyed at the ill discipline. They sort of understand the injuries a little bit more, but they're more pissed off at the fact that the board have done nothing to rectify that.
Yeah, because back in the January window, we was in the same position as well. I say that we both knew that we needed help. We both knew that we needed to fill out the squad, maybe add some quality. And for Burnley, we added one and took out one. Chris Wood got took on release clause, and then we replaced him with Vegas, which was, I still think, fantastic piece of business, especially it's half the price. But then that was it, and it felt like that's it, and we were already in a bad spot to begin with. Just felt like it was just complete bonkers, looking back on it. And same thing for you guys, that you guys were also seeing the signs and seeing the cracks form from a mile away, and it must be so frustrating because you feel like because of Bielsa and because of Dyche, because we have so much affinity to the managers, that you think that they have something planned, they know something that we don't, and that's just that kind of blind faith that both you and both I can put onto our managers and think that but like they know, because they know better than us, because they've done this and they have this credit in the bank. So it's concerning. I mean, from what I know from many Leeds fans looking at it, if you guys do go down this year, like, I want to ask this question to any fan that could go down, but like, if you guys go down, do you think there's a possibility of bouncing back up?
Oh, that fucking division. The problem is, Liam, I'll break it down for you. So we've got a lot of international footballers who basically shouldn't be in the position that they're in. Your likes of Ilan Melier, Robin Koch, Diego Llorente, obviously Rafinha, Calvin Phillips. I don't know if I mentioned Rafinha twice there, but Rodrigo as well, who's on a ridiculous, sort of wage per week. These players are not going to be sticking around in the Championship. So probably unlike Burnley, where the wage structure is maybe a bit different, even though Leeds isn't massively high, it'll be probably bigger than Burnley's, and the transfer fees we outlaid were big as well. So these players are going to be wanting to sort of play at the top level as well to keep their international careers prospering. That's not going to happen in the Championship, especially when you're looking at players, like Ilan Melier, Calvin Phillips, Rafinha, who are like, it's like the spine of the Leeds team. You could even chuck Patrick Bamford in there. So if you get rid of the majority of those, that's sort of 60 65% of your squad. So then you look at the base layer of what you've got left, and you've got Liam Cooper, who's not good enough, Luke Ayling, who's not good enough, Stuart Dallas, who I love, but is not good enough. And these are all aging players as well. You know, they're 30 plus. So they're not going to go anywhere else because they're not going to get a better club than Leeds United. So you're sort of asking them to go again when they're not good enough and the Championship's got better. You know, and then below that, you've got youngsters who you're probably going to chuck in there, but we've got two sort of star boys, as everyone likes to reference. I hate that term, but star boys anyway.
Yeah.
Joe Gelhardt and Charlie Cresswell, who are very, very good youngsters, and they're at Liverpool and Man United are looking at them. So you're looking at a complete rebuild if Leeds go down. Now, I also think if Everton were to go down, it would be a complete rebuild as well, just because of the calibre of their players as well. And I'm not saying for one that Burnley's calibre isn't good, but maybe they don't have the profiles on the international stage that Leeds and Everton do. So Burnley will be able to go down, as you quite rightly say, Liam, and probably bounce straight back up. Leeds have not had a long enough time in the Premier League to be able to bounce straight back. They haven't. They've not had that financial stability to improve facilities, to improve the standard of the squad. Obviously, we all know it's so small that they've not improved it like they would have liked to improve it. You know, stadium renovation, which is what they're aiming to do this year, you know, increasing the size of the stadium. So just aspects like that, which they were planning on doing. Leeds haven't been able to properly establish themselves as a Premier League club or even a yo-yo club. So we go down, Liam, and I am in the firm belief it's going to be a West Bromwich Albion situation and not a situation which will replicate Fulham or Bournemouth.
And I think you're spot on with that. And I'll give my 2 cents from a Burnley perspective that if we do go down, then we don't have, I don't think, as many internationals, but we have a good amount, which is our main players like Cornet and Vegos and Nick Pope and James Tarkowski's already definitely going. He's definitely going. His contract ends this summer. So there's a good amount of the main players. Like Stuart McNeil may want to try to prove himself. Taylor as well, I think, is earned the right as well. So the thing with Burnley is the fact that we recently got bought out. You got new owner about a year and a half ago, and the way that they bought the club was basically they used the club's own funds plus also a loan to buy out the club. So about 67 million is from a loan. Now, if you do go down, then Ami's going to pay a significant amount immediately on that loan, which could be in the ballpark of 50 to 60 mil. Therefore, we need to have a fire sale, essentially. Like I said, Nick Pope could go for 15, 20 mil. I'd hope for 30. I think is that good, but people just take the piss, won't they?
Liam, can I just say something about that guy?
Nick Pope.
He's a freak. I firmly believe this whole rhetoric of Burnley having a really strong defence, I will give you a little bit of kudos for that, but it's not as good as people think. You can get in and behind Burnley, in my opinion, pretty easily. Now, the person that resolute guy in and behind, who is just, I think he's top. He's top. Is Nick Pope. He is just, I think he could be the difference for you guys. Just touching on him. I know, sorry, you were making a point there, mate, but having a top keeper, having someone who you can rely on, who makes incredible saves, game-changing saves, and keeps you in the game, that can be the difference.
Every single game he pulls off one big save that keeps us either in it, keeps us winning, keeps us drawing. He does it every single game. For me, he's easily, comfortably Player of the Year. I don't think anyone really comes close. Corney's had moments and good form. Tarkowski's been great second half of the year, very much, but it's going to be Nick Pope for me. And it's just a shame that Pickford, I think Pickford's also really good, but they're both very different goalkeepers. Nick Pope's much more introverted, that he is just he's not a leader as such. He's a leader by example, that he is just a true professional and he gets his job done and he does what he needs to do. But he will be going. He should be playing Premier League, obviously, but a player like Nick Pope that could be maybe sold for 30 mil, which I think is worth that much for a keeper, which I think has been that consistent for 4 or 5 years. He may be going for 10 mil now, 15 mil, because they will be a fire sale, because we will have to sell players to pay off that loan debt. So Tarkowski going to 3, so that's what he's doing. Vegos may go for 10, 15. Corner may go for 10, 15. Dwight McNeil, if people want him, could go for about 15, 20, and maybe 10 mil. I don't know how much people take the piss. So again, if we go down, our club will again be pretty much gutted out, because we will have to, because of the way that the club are bought out. So I don't know in terms of between us and you, and I guess Everton are kind of still in the midst, but I mean, they're probably in the worst scenario compared to us two if they do go down. But in terms of us two, I don't really know, because I don't know how much you guys exactly pay for your players, exactly the impact if you guys do go down financially, because you got a lot of money in the bank because of your owners. We don't. We don't even know how much they even are worth. They bought the club based on the club's own money and also a loan, and they've took out another loan last week for like 12.5 mil. So we don't actually know how much they even have. So we are in a very much like, we've simply got to stay up for the sake of the club's like future, because if we go down and we don't actually know how much they even have, because they've not really shown much money, because they've not spent that much, then we actually don't know what scenario could be in if we do go down this year. So simply put, we have to stay up for the future of the club. I don't know if you guys are in that sort of scenario. Like if you guys do go down, you could just bounce back up in like a rebuild 2-3 years time. I think if you go down, it could be really, really disastrous for the football club essentially.
Yeah, it's interesting, Liam. I didn't know it from that perspective, to be quite honest. It's on the front of it with Burnley. I mean, they've done an incredible job in being in the Premier League and sustaining it for so long, and you do put them in that sort of bracket if they were to go down, similar to a Norwich and a Fulham and a Bournemouth, that they would just come straight back up. But obviously the changing of ownership makes a big difference. I mean, with regards to Leeds, I just think, like you said, you've mentioned the perfect sort of word there in terms of gutted. I think we're going to get gutted out, and the recruitment, Liam, has been shit. It's been shit from our recruitment director, who his job has got to be looked at in the summer for me. And when you look at it, really, for the amount of money we've spent, the only real person in the Premier League, the money that we spent in the Premier League, the only real person who has been someone who we look at and go, wow, what a great signing that was. And we've spent a lot of money, Liam. We've spent a lot of money. We've been in the Premier League for 2 years.
Yeah,
It's Rafinha.
Much more than
Yeah,
us,
much more. We spent 25 million on Dan James. We've spent 15 million on Junior Firpo, who's potentially the worst left back I've ever seen at the club. At the club, he's that bad. And then we've spent 30 million on Rodrigo, who is bang average. And that, you look at that and you're rounding it up, it's 75, 80 million quid. I mean, that is ridiculous. That outlay is unbelievably bad. So there's a lot of problems at Leeds, mate. And when you go down, you have to, teams will come in for your best players, but you have to get your recruitment right. You have to bring in the right players for the system, for the environment. And then you're looking once again at Leeds, did they keep Jesse Marsh? I mean, there's a question there. If we've not seen a style, we've not seen a tactical plan, we've not seen an improvement, and we've regressed, do you keep him, or do you go for a possession-based manager who is experienced? I mean, I'm not going to go with any of the cliches, but a Bielsa disciple has taken control of Huddersfield 2 years ago in Carlos Corberán, and he's doing an excellent job. If Huddersfield were to stay in the Championship, is there an argument that you look for a more possession-based manager like him who knows the club, which, some would argue would have been a more logical step than getting someone like Jesse Marsh in. So it's going to be a rebuild, mate, on and off the pitch.
Yeah, and that's just the reality of how serious relegation is in Premier League, because the gap is so big financially and quality-wise. And every single way you could possibly imagine, the gap cannot be any bigger between the Championship and Prem, and it gets bigger and bigger each year, and it's getting really bad, isn't it? It really is, because it feels like it is all about. I mean, for us, I can speak about money and finances, because we've not spent that much and we've not got that much back, and you guys have spent money. It's just the way you spent it, So it's just in terms of. It just feels like it's getting tougher and tougher, especially the likes of Norwich and Watford and Fulham keep on going up, going down, going up, going down. It just feels like it's a never-ending cycle almost, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, because I've had loads of chats with, like obviously Norwich fan who I'm good mates with, Chris Reeve, and I know you are, Liam, as well. And he'll always talk about the financial implications of Norwich and stuff like that. But the club can't be in a bad state, can it, really, with the amount of relegations it's taken, but that they're still getting successive promotions. Obviously, you'll still get a good Premier League bonus when you finish in the bottom three, like we will, if one of us will. But you still get a decent packet when you go down. So yeah, I mean, they won't have the outlay, but the club will be in a healthy position. And I think Gary Neville was quoting it and saying the other day when he was talking about relegation, that if a team goes down, it's going to cost them 120 million. In terms of the revenue that they're not going to be able to get back with TV rights, broadcasting rights, and all this sort of stuff. So the gap's getting bigger and bigger. And the worry for me, Liam, is if you don't bounce back in the first season, it's getting harder and harder and harder to then bounce back in the second, obviously then third, then fourth. It's getting harder and harder. But the teams coming down are just so stacked. I mean, Bournemouth squad's worth 160 million. That's more than Leeds is.
That's more than us.
Yeah, mate. I mean, Fulham's is 135 million. I think I saw. Sorry, not Fulham. Bournemouth is 135 million. That's more than Leeds is. Sheffield United's 110. So the standard. And if Bournemouth go up again, they're going to spend more money and increase the stacking of that squad. So yeah, mate. The distance between the clubs it's startling, really.
Yeah, well, we're trying to see out this now in terms of game by game. I'll just get your thoughts on it. I guess in terms of the fixtures here, and just I guess we'll look back in this in 2 weeks' time and just say how fucking stupid we are, essentially. So this weekend we play first. So I'll let you. We'll go one by one here. So I give my side, you give your side. So Spurs beat Burnley. What's your prediction for that?
I think, and this is going to be interesting, obviously, if you put this video out and people are looking back at this and they're probably just going to laugh at me, but...
It'll be in the morning as well. It'll be literally like 3 hours before kickoff, essentially, as well.
So, yeah, Son's going for the golden boot, was taken off against Arsenal in the 65th minute to preserve him, in my opinion, for this game, because it's such an important one for Spurs. I think the gunning for it with the Arsenal result's going to buoy them on as well. To be honest, Liam, I think it's going to be quite a comfortable 3-0 win for Spurs. And that's not because Burnley are not going to put up a fight. That's just because of the quality that Spurs have got. Although, I did hear today that Christian Romero's out for the season.
Is he?
Yeah.
And I think I also heard that also Kulusevski also may be missing tomorrow as well.
Yeah, Kulusevski apparently is missing as well. So there is an opportunity there for Burnley again.
And Burnley this year, with our 2 top 6 away days, Arsenal and Chelsea both are 0-0 and 1-1. So we've got points in both those games. So I guess we've got it in us. But without
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Yeah, I saw with your stats, you've got 0 points, haven't you, from any top 6 home and away, haven't you?
Yep, nothing.
It's absolutely disastrous. Especially after last year, because I remember like the win away at City and. I remember watching that thinking, fuck me, fair play. But like, I can't believe the contrast of how it's been. It's just been, I can't believe it because
I think Liam, I think we've conceded. I think it's now. If not, someone will probably correct me, but I'm pretty sure we've now conceded 45 goals as well in all those games. Like this is why our goal difference is knackered. We've conceded 75 goals and 45 of them have been against the top 6. Like we've just been mauled by them. It's not on. It's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, with Burnley, I think we've only had that game once. That was Chelsea at home. Other than that, we've always kind of kept it. Even like City away, 2-0 loss. Liverpool away, 2-0 loss.
And you beat Spurs.
And we beat Spurs as well. Yeah, so we've got some decent points away when it mattered for us. So we've got that potential in us, but without Tarky and potentially Dale Stevens in midfield as well, with Jack Cope missing, I really cannot see it. For me as a Burnley fan for this game, I would say probably be a 2-0 Spurs. I think it'd be 0-0 at half time. You guys will be shaking, I'll be shaking, and then I think eventually quality will probably show up. That's just, I mean, I'd love to think it'd be a 0-0 draw, but I kind of really can't see it. With my head, I can't imagine it. Especially the fact that Spurs are literally up against it for top 4. It'll take an incredible piece of Spurs after Spurs, so hard to Spurs this game. Genuinely, how hard can you Spurs? And to be fair, we beat Spurs 3 days after they beat City at Etihad. So we've got history this season.
Oh, Liam, stop it.
I'm just saying, they beat City at Etihad, and then they faced us at Turf, and we won 1-0, but Ben Mee isn't there, and Tark isn't there. So, take that as you will. And then you guys are playing 2 hours afterwards, I think. Oh, an hour afterwards, actually. So, Brighton are home. I'll give my prediction for this. I think, because it's Brighton, and you actually don't know what you're going to get with them, because they're in great form, but yet they still feel like a nice technical side, but they've not got that clinical edge on their day. And because of how you guys are going to be, I mean, this is literally there's a cup final, and then there's this is literally life or death for you guys. If you do not win this game, then I can't see you getting a good result at Brentford. I really can't. So this has to be it. And I'm gonna go on my Burnley side. I'm gonna say it'd be a draw. I would like to say it'd be a goals in it. I would like to say it'd be a 1-1 or 2-2. I'll probably go for a 1-1, a score draw. And I think that point could feel like a good thing, but also a bad thing, I guess, because that means that the ball's in our court to get a point in the last 2 games. But that's my prediction.
Yeah, I actually don't think that's. I mean, that's not a disastrous one, because I mean, we'll get onto the last 2 games in a minute, Liam, but for you guys anyway. But I don't think that would be disastrous. a loss would be. I mean, I'm of the mindset that it's done anyway. But you can't really say that when it's 34 points. We're both on 34 points, and we've still got games to go. But in my opinion, it's sort of done anyway. But if Leeds are to get a point, obviously that'll be much better than just getting obviously losing the game and then
Would that
getting.
feel like a win or feel like a loss for you if you get a draw?
I guess it depends on your guys' results, but I honestly, Liam, with my, there is a scenario, and we'll get onto the last few games. Obviously, there is a scenario where both teams don't pick up a point, like you just said.
Yeah.
Both teams lose every game. That's that could be a very likely scenario, but so a point might be the difference. So I wouldn't mind that. And the thing is, Liam, with my headspace and what the result is actually going to be. I would definitely take a point.
Fair play. I think most Leeds fans, they just kind of feel like if you can't beat Brighton at home, then I think that you look back in history, if he has to go down thinking all we have to do is beat Brighton at home to stay up, and if you can't do that, then it almost feels like you don't deserve to be in Prem. In the same way that we couldn't beat Norwich, we couldn't beat Norwich this year. If you can't beat Norwich, you shouldn't be in Prem. That's kind of how I feel the same thing as well. When we lost 2-0 to Norwich, it's like, well, we don't fucking deserve it. If we
go down then. Go down, mate, please.
Shut up. Give us some hope. So for that game, you are going to go for what?
Yeah, I'm going to go with. Oh God, should I come on here? Liam? Should I think with my heart on my head here? What should I do? You tell me.
Things of Leeds that you guys have granted out results when people did not expect it. You guys have got that fight in you. Is it still there now than what it used to be? I don't really know, but I still think it's possible that you guys can win. I think there's more likelihood of you guys winning this game for me than losing it.
Should we? All right, let's make this interesting then. Okay, if we'll make it interesting, I will go with my heart, and I'll go with the 2-1 Leeds win.
Okay. That seems fair to me. That is possible. That is possible because you guys have got that little bit of quality in there, and like so Rafinha can just do something mad or off a set piece. Because Brighton are awful at set pieces. They're awful.
Yeah.
And you guys.
Yeah, and there is also, Liam, a potential for Patrick Bamford to be back, which is huge. Like, that is huge if he is back. So we'll have to wait and see. But that could be a big thing.
Yeah, I fucking hope not. Really, I really hope not for that. I mean, if I was I'll go into this thing. Okay, Dan James definitely out. I think he's out. Okay, Rafinha could be 50-50. So could Harrison. And I think it's over there thinking, okay, so they are playing. Great, cheers. So I thought, yeah, so maybe missing also Harrison and Rafinha. I thought Harrison was out for the year. I thought he was definitely out. But apparently
no,
he's fine.
Yeah, Harrison and Rafinha are fine. I think it's James Ayling, one of our good up-and-coming youngsters, Somerville, he's out as well, and Dallas, obviously. So they're the four new ones at the minute that are out. So
yeah, okay, fair enough. So Villa away for Burnley. I'll let you go first.
I think it's going to be a tough one for you again, mate. I think it's going to be a tough one. Villa, in my opinion, will not edge this season out. I've seen loads of interviews with Steven Gerrard just from my work, where he's essentially turning around and saying, I am not letting these players rest on their laurels because I am going to be bringing in a better quality of player next season if they don't perform. And he's just really straight up. I think he said it on the overlap with Gary Neville. He's like, we perform till the end of the season or there's going to be words to add. And I think you've seen that against Norwich. Obviously, you've seen that against you guys in the last game as well. And they've given Coutinho a new contract. So, sorry, they've signed him. They've signed Coutinho for 20 million, obviously. So,
yeah.
I don't know whether or not that's going to give him a little bit of energy, in terms of just like trying to prove a point that it was the right signing. Buendia looks like he's hit a little bit of form as well. So those two are going to be competing for that number 10 spot. So there is real quality there. And that's the thing, Liam. I just think Villa have got real. You take Tyrone Mings out, and they've got some decent quality within that sort of 11. So, Luca Dean, Ollie Watkins in there as well. So I think this is going to be. I think Burnley are going to grind, but I could see it going quite similarly to what it did at Turf Moor. But I'm going to say 2-1 Villa.
I mean, you're correct completely in terms of Villa, in terms of they have got great quality in there, and that's kind of what confused me because before that Norwich game at home, they were the second most out of form side in Premier League. In the last 6 games, only Norwich was actually, only Watford was actually worse than them in terms of form. So, yeah, I was going into this thinking, Villa at home, this is it's a good chance. It's a good chance that you could at least get like a point at the very least against these lot. But they have got great quality, and I still see them as a bit hit and miss. Still Villa, because the way that I see it, I look at a team and the likes of you've drawn away at Villa Park. Watford beat them 1-0, and I just kind of feel like I look at that thinking, there's a possibility there to at least get a draw, because a draw for us will feel like a win. That will feel like a win for us if you get a point away at Villa Park, because I think that'll just put. I guess it depends on if you win against Brighton, maybe not. But if you draw, that'll feel like a win for us essentially. So that game, I guess it's heavily reliant on the fact that will Tarky be back. I think he will by then. I don't think they'll be both available, Jack Cork and Tarky for Spurs. If they're both back, I can have some hope. So you know what? This is the thing. Me looking at the results now and how I think may happen, I can see us losing to Villa. I can see us losing to Villa, and I think he'll go down to final day, and then it's us v Newcastle and you v Brentford, and just in my mind, I think it's going to be in the worst way possible for both of us that it'll be on final day, and I'll go into it, I guess, but I can just see some magic Anton Deck starting up top for Newcastle, Cheryl Cole goal, and I could just hope that Newcastle, just for some reason, just isn't arse that day. I'm going to hope, and then that could be a win. And then Brentford, I'm going to hope that you lose, and then we somehow still stay up that way. And that could be what could happen. But that's just me just being an idiot. But I don't think... I think we're going to save all our main players for that Newcastle game, essentially, I think. Because we know that no matter what happens... I don't know, mate. Honestly, my mind keeps changing every single second. My mental state is just completely just in tatters right now, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I think obviously I'll give you a score prediction as well for the Newcastle game. I'm of the Villa perspective really for this one, because I think that a lot of Newcastle players, like you look at Martin Dubravka, Fabian Schär, John Joe Shelby, Chris Wood, players like that, Miguel Almiron, they're gonna have to play for their futures now, because next season it's going to be a complete turnaround for Newcastle. So these players once again have to play. They can't drop the levels. Newcastle, they can't do it. And this is the thing, like. Burnley are coming up against two teams in Newcastle and Villa who can't really drop what they're doing at the minute. It's not a team like Southampton or a team like Watford who are going to be on the beach. These two are teams who are going to be driving high standards till the end of the season, in my opinion. So I do think Newcastle will be a difficult game as well, but I think you could grab a draw there, mate, and that could be it. That could be it. I know in my predictions there, I've said you're going to lose to. I've said you're going to lose to Villa. I've said you're going to, lose to Spurs. But I'm thinking with my heart, that Leeds are going to beat Brighton, and that's going to be a tall ask. So I think you'll either win that game or you'll draw that game. We'll go because we're on a Burnley channel. We'll go with the Burnley 1, Newcastle 0.
I think at this stage, mate, in my mind, I'm just thinking, what if we just all lose our games and then we still stay up? I'm okay with that. You know what? At that stage, I don't piss off anyone. Just like we're all really shit. We just all lose our games. It's like, all right, sound. I think that's the cheap option out. I think.
That's it. Yeah.
Villa away, we've done decent there before. We've drawn in the last two games we played at Villa Park, actually, so we've got a decent record there. Last away game of the season, and maybe the last home game as well. It's like I don't know, that Villa game I think will be the game, because no matter what happens, I guess even if you lose to Brighton, it just still feels like it's gonna go to the last game, innit? No matter what happens. In reality, in some magical world, you guys lose, we win. That's basically you guys down. But I can't see that happening. There's no way we're beating Spurs.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's it. I think you beat. There's a game week where we're not playing as well. I think this is the game week when you're playing Villa and we don't play on that game week, which is going to be absolute torture. So you even pick up a point there, and if we don't pick anything up against Brighton, we've then got to go really to Brentford and win, which isn't going to happen. So I think a lot of the favour is for you guys, and I think that's because of the fixtures, and I think that's because of the goal difference, and that's why I think Leeds are going to go down, mate.
Oh Jesus! So that's the end point, isn't it? For you can't see a world where Leeds actually stay up.
No, I think we've had enough chances, mate. I think we've had the Palace game, which was a big chance. We've had the Southampton game, and the managers basically played for a point in both. And I think that screwed us because I don't understand that nonsensical approach when you've got Chelsea, Arsenal, and City all coming up. That you're going to play for draws. But then again, I don't think Leeds expected Burnley to do what they've done, and they've dragged themselves right back into it, which is just staggering. So yeah, that I mean, Mike Jackson's got the equal amount or more than wins than Dyche got all season, which is just something that you never ever see. So yeah, I think that's it, mate. I think the goal difference is going to kill us as well because it's going to go right to the wire. But yeah, I mean, you're asking a lot for Leeds to beat Brighton or Brentford. I mean, we're just nowhere near good enough at the minute.
At least you said it. At least you said it. So I don't get, if I don't get Leeds fans having a go at me, like. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
the main contrast I just find in the BO and Endo is that you guys, I don't think, know your best team. You guys don't know your main tactic and really what to do when you're on the ball. It still feels like you're kind of making it up on the spot because of the fact that you guys played that one system with Bielsa. Now you're swapping over to this new system and it's much more narrow. And I feel like players, when you're under Bielsa, you knew without even looking at, this guy's going to be doing the overlap, this guy's going to be in this position. But with you guys, it feels like you get the ball and that quick little second or two that they actually glance around to look around where's the players, that could be the difference in this league. That extra second to see where the fuck is this guy? Is he on my overlap or is he staying back because the manager told him to? And with Burnley, we know what we're gonna do, and I think that kind of familiarity, well, I hope reigns supreme. I hope for us as a just pure blinkers on that. Hopefully we can just grind out a 0-0 and that could be all we need to get that clean sheet, because defensively that's not really been our main issue this year. It's always been attacking wise. I think in terms of most goals conceded, I think we're in top 10. Maybe at one stage I think we're like 7th, and that was in like April in terms of like most goals conceded. We're like better than like United and Spurs, I believe. Maybe not Spurs, but better than United most definitely for like most goals conceded. So it's one of them. I'm going to hope that Burnley can do it. I think that is definitely more in our favour, and that Leeds have to do something which I've not seen in the last 5 games to prove me wrong.
Yeah, that's it, mate. I think probably that's the perfect way to end the video, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like no matter what I do, if we do end up going down and you guys still, this is still going to be used against me in some way. So, like, the thing is that it's just fucking Burnley, innit? It's just fucking like you guys have done the impossible, and so has Everton. That you guys have actually made people want to like Burnley. We got Man U fans wanting us to win because of Leeds. We got Liverpool fans wanting us to go up because of Everton. We got also Arsenal now supporting us because of Spurs in the top 4 race. So we've got like practically like I don't think Newcastle they also hate. I think Everton and probably even you guys too. So we got basically half the fucking league like wanting to stay up, which I thought that just would never happen because I think most people are just sick and tired of us. Like so, you've done the impossible here, lads. Like the only team that people can hate more than Burnley is probably Leeds. So fair play.
Yeah, we get it a lot. But yeah, mate, Liam, I'm gonna have to bounce, mate. I'm gonna have to bounce. I'm sorry. I've just got something which has just come through, which on a Saturday night is not what I want in the journalist world. So I'm gonna have to bounce, mate. But I really appreciate it.
No, it's man. I'll say wish you luck, but I really don't mean it. And I'm looking forward to the games tomorrow, and hopefully seeing your reaction with KG and all them lot, and hopefully in a meltdown, and so am I. I'm gonna be honest here, like it's every man for himself here. So enjoy your night. Thanks for coming on, pal, and just best of luck mentally. That's the main thing, I think.